Yes.
So just a question. Why do we baptize children? We are baptized as the children, and Jesus was baptized when he was 30. Why don't we get baptized at 30 like Jesus?
The question is, why do we baptize children when Jesus was baptized in the Spirit at 30? Why do we need to baptize children?
Because since his time, the church has changed. And it wants children to be brought up in the faith. And it wants them to start with baptism. There are different religions that don't like infant baptism. But a number of Anglicans, Catholics do. But then, as we mentioned just now, confirmation is the person's own initiative to say yes to what the parents did for them at baptism. Say yes to God in confirmation. But it's exactly the same thing as I read in recent times in the newspaper, people saying, why don't we should not teach children maths until they're old enough. Why do we teach them when they're small? And the whole thing is because they need to grow with it. It's the same with Christianity. You need to grow as a Christian.
Would it also be good to say that with the Holy Spirit we actually receive and we accept, which is a mature decision to make, whereas a little child cannot make that decision.
Yeah.
And there will be other people who will pray for that child to be brought up in a Christian household, so that when they are of a mature age, when they can receive and accept the Holy Spirit in power, it's a maturing. It's like cheese has to mature. And as mathematics, a little child, you can't teach mathematics to a little child, it's impossible. But when they're older, and by practice and prayer and all these other things that we learn, when they're ready, then we receive the Holy Spirit in a mature way. Is that right?
Yeah. Okay, this lady, somebody at the back wanted to say something. No.
Isn't the Spirit of God in all of creation anyway?
Isn't the Spirit of God?
In all creation, absolutely, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I've always been confused about baptism. Is baptism just a confirmation of that?
No. No, people have not received the Holy Spirit until they've been baptized.
So, but if the Spirit of God is in all creation, don't we all have the Spirit of God in us all the time anyway, whether we know God or not?
As much as this has the Spirit of God. What you're saying is, this has the Spirit of God. This table. No, the child does not have the Spirit until baptism. This baptism includes a prayer of exorcism. And Psalm 50 or 51, have mercy on me, God, in your kindness, says, I was conceived in sin. And something has to get rid of that.
Okay.
You've washed me whiter than snow. That's what the psalm says. So we were conceived in sin, and we have to get something to get rid of the sin. That's what happens at baptism. Then we receive the Spirit. So, yes, the Holy Spirit is in all creation, but it depends what you mean by in. I don't know.
I think the Spirit is within us. We can allow Jesus to be living within our souls and in our inner being. But the light, to turn that on, is when we say, God, come into my whole life, come into me.
Yeah.
And you come alive in the Spirit, because you invite the Spirit to come inside, to live with you in your soul, and deep down. It's there, but we have to turn the switch on. It's like electricity, it won't go on until we press the button. We have to press the button. When we press the button and we ask the Holy Spirit, it comes upon us.
Like our yes.
Yes.
Okay.
The prayer we said at the beginning, on the other side, I forgot to tell you, we only say that prayer once today. It's waiting for next seminar, which is about the Spirit. And so we'll say both sides next time. But it says here, Holy Spirit, you bring me new life. And then please open my heart to you so that I may live in all the power and joy of your love. See, I can't do it without the Holy Spirit. So the Holy Spirit is not there until we open. It is said, Pope John XXIII said, let's open the windows and let the Holy Spirit in. And people are now saying what he meant was, let's open the windows, let the Holy Spirit out. The Holy Spirit's in all of us, but dormant. This is the problem nowadays. People don't know the Holy Spirit. He's dormant in them. And what it needs is something like the Alpha Course to let the person know that the Holy Spirit is in here and wants to come out and do things if we let him.
The devil attacks the individual, the family and small groups, the nation and the world, the Christian community. At present, he is also attacking especially married couples and priests.
Just a moment. In my book, we went even further than this. My editor found a lot of information. Things like there are, at the present moment, in countries like Africa, 255 wars going on. And different countries, different wars are going on. And it's the devil who is doing all this. And people don't realize when things are not right, when there's no peace, you've got war, it's the devil at work. So that should be added to what I said here. Okay. Continue, please.
So if someone is experiencing strong temptations or trials of, say, anger, pride, lust, fear, discouragement, alcoholism, depressions, addictions, gambling, and added by Father Nicholas, especially when there is no apparent cause, there may be some degree of direct demonic attack. When someone has a serious drug problem, a really uncontrollable temper, or is seriously involved in adulterous activity or pornography, worshipping money, gambling, always hypocritical, strongly tempted to suicide, or involved in the occult.
Up there. Now, it mentions McCall. There's a book I'm holding up called Healing the Family Tree by Dr. Kenneth McCall. He was an Anglican doctor, certainly. He was also a counsellor. And some interesting stories in here. He believes in the spirit world, and he believes in spirits causing problems. He mentions, in particular, the Bermuda Triangle. I think it's coming up in your notes somewhere later on.
Comes up.
Yeah.
Did it mention later on?
Yeah, it is.
That's great. What happened was this. He and his wife were coming back from America in a banana boat, not in a liner. And the ship got itself into the Saragossa Sea. Apparently it's full of, I'm not sure if it's seaweed or something, causes problems. And the ship was still for a day. Engine trouble with the engines had gone wrong. And he and his wife could hear moaning and groaning. And they asked the captain, could it be the foreign crew? And he said, no, and they prayed about it. He was a great prayer, he and his wife. And they came to the conclusion that the sounds they could hear, the groaning, going from the African slaves who had been dumped overboard into the sea at this point. And it's called the Bermuda Triangle. Triangle going from somewhere Florida, out back into South America.
This demonic bondage is often called demonic oppression, obsession, or infestation. The devil has partial control and leaves other parts of the person free. So in many ways, the person seems good and is good. It is important to remember this.
Yes, very important to remember that a person can be good, but have some tiny things either attached to him or in him somehow. It's only a person, it doesn't mean a person is bad or is possessed by the devil. The devil has partial control. In fact, the devil has partial control of most of us because we are sinners. So it's important to remember that the person is good, okay. Can I continue?